Yeah, how you feeling?
Ah, like in the moment, in like the universe. Like I feel like that's a loaded question right now.
Yeah, I feel like I'm talking to my dad again.
You like it when your dad's like, "You sound just like me."
I mean, he's right in a lot of situations. I mean, we do sound like a lot like each other,
Yeah.
except I'll answer questions.
How many more years of you like? Do you remember that from your youth, or like how many more years of you do we have till you were stop answering questions?
Oh no, my dad has always taken pride in not answering
Okay,
questions. He,
that's like whoo, weight off my back.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know, man. He's a crazy man. He always has been. Like yeah. No, it's weird. It's weird to have a dad that takes pride in not answering questions.
Yeah. Like ever since you were like little, he's been like that.
Yeah, he brags about it.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, he thinks it's a talent to be able to be asked the question and talk for a considerable amount of time and not answer the question.
Man, but I like not like that that's infuriating, you know, like
Yeah.
and not it doesn't help communication. But I also get like sometimes, you know, you talk to people and they're just trying to get you to like to say a certain thing. You're like,
Mhm.
"No, I'm not going to say it." You know?
And that he's that way too. Like my dad, he's very specifically said, even today, but I'm talking to him today. He goes, he's like, sometimes somebody will say something and I'll say the opposite just to get them riled up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, why would you do that?
Cuz he's like he's a smart man for like I don't even know the amount of education he had, but like he strikes me as a smart man for the world that he lived in and the amount of education that he received.
Yeah.
So like you know, it seems like I don't know, like things might have been a little boring to him or he was able to control situations or like, you know, like he could do a lot with what he had.
Yeah, agreed. You know, but he keeps himself around people that don't understand metaphors.
Metaphors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's constantly like, "You understood that metaphor?"
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Like what did he was there a metaphor today?
There's always a metaphor. I don't even remember. It was something really basic too. It was
If I tried to say like figures of speech, is that the right word? You
yeah.
know, like would I always mess up to him and I like said it wrong? Would he be like, "Whoa, she's smart"?
Like if you said a figure of speech wrong, like would it be he'll be able to piece it together?
No, would he be like he'd think it was like a new one and he would think it was like
No, he's very traditional too,
okay.
because you're always trying to say traditional phrases.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be like, you know, that's the pot calling the kettle a pot, and
Yeah.
like that. Be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really mess those up. But I'm trying to remember his analogy today. It was like he was okay. We're talking about judgment, right? And he goes, you know, like if you go to a store right now and you go in the store and there's a big sign that says when you walk in the store that everybody has to wear a mask. You get in the store and you see one person without a mask. What do you think? And I'm like, I just think that I see a person without a mask. And he goes, that's a judgment. No, it's not a judgment, Dad. I'm just making an observation. He was like, an observation that gives you a judgment. And I was like, but that's not even a good example. That's not even a good example because like that was easy to understand.
Yeah.
But then that was also after we established that I understand metaphors.
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
It's like every time I talk to him, this is how deeply he hangs around retards, is that every time I talk to him, he has to recalibrate for a person that understands metaphors.
Yeah.
And it blows his mind. He's like, I always forget. I always forget, you know, because he lives in a world where he's like this super genius.
Right, yeah. But he probably likes it like that a little bit, right? Like or does he not? It's just the world he lives in.
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know. I can't get an answer out of him.
Fair.
So I don't even know where I would even begin to ask that question. You know, he says ridiculous stuff like my dad said today, because we're talking about health,
Yeah.
and we're talking about, you know, he's like, you know, one thing I don't play with is my health. You know, everything that they tell me I have to do with this COVID, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
You know, he's wearing gloves out there all the time. He's
Oh,
doing,
yeah?
he's doing. He comes home, he takes his gloves off, he washes his hands, and then he washes his face.
Yeah.
every time he comes home.
Okay.
So he's super COVID man.
Yeah.
And
super COVID man.
Yeah,
that's him.
Yeah. And he goes, he's talking about health, and I'm like, well, you still drinking?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I mean that's my. He starts talking about it. That's my vice.
That's his vice.
That's my vice.
Yeah.
And right before you came into the room to hear him talking about that,
Yeah.
because you heard him talking about that, right?
Yeah, his only vices.
Yeah, his only. So right before you came into the room, he goes, I'll stop drinking when I get a car. Because if I have a car, I can't drink. He goes like, that's the catch-22 right there. You're damned if you do it, you're damned if you don't. It's like, no. How about you stop drinking and get a fucking car, dude? What is wrong with you, man?
He's had cars though, right?
He has, but he, the last couple license issues he had been related to DUIs.
Ah, okay.
So he's just like, I'm not even gonna
That's just
drink.
trouble.
If I get a car, I
Okay.
can't drink at all. I got
Yeah.
to be at a point in my life when I'm ready to stop drinking
Yeah.
before I'll ever drive again.
Fair enough. So
Like
he's not driving anymore, huh?
He's never driving again. He's never. You heard him.
Yeah.
Those are his only two vices. He's
Those
not
are it.
giving those up.
No.
So he'll never drive again. Because he's damned if he do, he's damned if he don't. What a crazy man.
Yeah.
He is a crazy man.
Yeah.
That is my father. And I have to be like, yeah, that's what I'm going to be one day.
Terrifies me.
Yeah. It's, yeah, you talked to your dad today?
I did.
A little Father's Day talk?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good weekend, man. This Juneteenth is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I like it that it's one of these things where society keeps doing this thing where we'll start acting like we've been about this the whole entire time.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's with phrases.
Yeah.
When the first time I heard white privilege, like as a phrase, it was said as if it had been like we've been talking about white privilege for 30 years.
Obviously.
Like, how do you not know what white privilege is?
Yeah, I can't remember when I first heard about it. It was all of a sudden just there.
Yeah, and it was just, you better know.
Yeah.
You better know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna use it, and it's gonna happen to me.
Yeah. I feel like it was like around the same time that like we were getting so mad at men though, and like mansplaining and manspreading and like all the man stuff was going on too, and so it was kind of like white privilege, like this getting mad at men is more fun, like they're spreading their legs on the train, like that's offensive.
Yeah, mansplaining is another one. It's like we've been saying that.
Yeah.
Really, you're gonna act like we've been saying that?
Yeah.
Right. And I feel the same way about Juneteenth. It's like, so now black people are acting like they've been celebrating Juneteenth the whole entire time.
Yeah, I like how I see the post about like this is how you celebrate Juneteenth, and I'm like, from who? Like what?
I've never celebrated Juneteenth in my life. I've never known another black person to celebrate Juneteenth. I've never even known another black person to even mention Juneteenth.
Yeah.
I've never heard it before.
No.
And now all of a sudden we act like we've been celebrating this the whole entire time, but white people just didn't know about it.
And this, like you got to eat food with your friends. Like, okay, isn't that what we do every holiday? Like,
so you're like, sometimes in June you have a cookout. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah. No, that's
mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
And it's funny to me because I don't, other than this right here, I have not been like, wait a second, we haven't been doing this.
Yeah, I know. You're just
because,
like, okay, yeah, holiday. Let's get off of work. Like, yeah, I support this.
100%. And I don't mind that whoever feels bad about not knowing how important Juneteenth has been to black people this whole entire time, you fucking deserve it. You deserve to feel bad. You're a moron. You're a cretin. Like, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, if society can trick you into believing you've just missed this your whole entire life, then you're a fucking idiot. You deserve to feel bad. I don't feel bad for you feeling bad whatsoever.
Yeah.
Here's what's funny to me is, again, so it's like political, right? Because everything's political right now.
Mm-hmm.
And like a couple weeks ago, not a week ago, but like within this week, before the actual date of the 19th.
Yeah.
Right? Joe Biden was in Tulsa
Oh.
which is the site of the Tulsa city bombings.
99 years. Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the lynching. Oh, the bombings. Yeah.
No. Not the Unabomber.
Yeah.
guy, but like the racial.
The 99 years ago race stuff.
Yeah, the race stuff. And he mentioned it. He referred to it as being a Juneteenth site, like the site of Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Where he mixed up those two holidays.
Yeah.
Because Juneteenth, which a lot of people don't know, was this, when the army finally got to Galveston, Texas on June 19th, 2 years after slavery had been abolished, to let them know that there was no more slavery. Like they didn't know for 2 straight years.
No social media back then.
None at all. None at all. Soldiers showed up one day and was like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?"
Yeah. Did you guys hear? Like, no, we're in Texas.
Take this. Stop it down here, you guys. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
So,
I imagine that wasn't such like it wasn't such a celebratory day for everybody. It was a lot of like, "Whoa, what's happening? Like, what do we do now?" Okay, can we still live here for a little bit until we figure out what we're gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know. What I think when I think about that is there must have been like the first time you slept
after you found out.
After you found out must have been the best sleep you ever had in your life. I mean, I think up until that point, sleep was probably tenuous at best. Probably a lot of tossing and turning. I wouldn't not even because of what might happen to you in your sleep, but you're a slave. You're not getting the best sleeping quarters.
Right.
Right. So you are in shitty sleeping conditions. And on top of that, you never know if somebody's going to run in and rape your butt. It can happen at any time. That was a large part of slavery. That's like one of the...
the untold told.
Yeah, that's the untold story of
Yeah.
slavery is a lot of butt raping. A lot of just... Because, I mean, we already established episodes ago that the most traditional way to show dominance over man is to do it in his butt.
Yeah.
There's no way they weren't.
That's true.
Who were they going to tell? Who are the slaves going to tell?
Right.
There was no human resources for slaves to be like, "I'm getting me too'd." It's tragic.
Yeah.
But that first night of sleep must have been...
They'd still be in the same sleeping quarters though, right? Like, don't you think everything kind of like...
I don't know. I think if you
just go find like a bush somewhere, like a cave, like
anywhere. I think anywhere.
I feel you on that.
Like on a grassy hill.
Yeah.
And I think that probably has a lot to do with the stereotype that black people are lazy. Because
they just finally got to sleep.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like, no, I'm going to chill for a little bit.
Yeah. That's fair.
Just going to chill for a little bit. And then we're like, "You fucking lazy fucks."
Yeah.
Like,
what are you doing for yourself? I'm chilling.
You can't even relate that to the people where it's like, dude, I've been a slave my whole entire life and now I'm not a slave.
Yeah.
I'm going to chill.
Yeah.
There's no way to even convey the necessity to chill in that moment.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's...
So that's how you should celebrate Juneteenth Day, with chill.
We chilled. I chilled.
Yeah.
I think
we chilled hard on Juneteenth
super hard.
Day.
I think we did a hard Juneteenth chill.
Yeah, we
like
started our tradition.
We slept long. We did a lot.
We played video games as a family. We were just like...
We just chilled.
Yeah.
Just fucking
it's
chilled.
It's hot out there. Let's stay in the AC.
Basically, that is... And again, I think you're right. I think that is how Juneteenth should be celebrated. Just hard chilling. Just like just recognize all the effort that you just put in.
Yeah.
All year up until this point. Like, man, I've been really fucking grinding.
I look forward to next year Juneteenth Day.
So do I.
Yeah.
So do I. It's gonna be
one of my favorite holidays.
From now on, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're gonna be celebrating it all hard next year, and we're gonna be celebrating our in public.
Yeah.
People are gonna be like, "Man, they're really into Juneteenth." Like, wow, they must have always been like this. Mm-hmm. Like, we need to get on board.
Yeah.
We need to get on board. Yeah. So no, I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
I'm excited. That is something I can't stop thinking about now. Like that first sleep after you were freed from slavery.
That must have been quite a day.
It's not that first everything because they were
Your
fucking
first shit?
They were making yeah. Oh my god.
Right? Like
Your
you just
first
stayed
shit?
on that toilet.
You're
for
just
like,
anywhere shit or just
Yeah.
like stayed in that deep
Yeah.
squat. Just like nobody's gonna buy. It's like it
you
must.
read a leaf. You're like, oh, look at this leaf.
It's like, I didn't even realize leaves had veins in
Yeah.
them. Like everything, mostly everything that didn't have to do with their enslavement looked like a blurry version of itself.
Yeah.
Like leaves were blurry.
Yeah.
Like they never had a chance to like focus
Yeah.
on a leaf that whole entire time.
Yeah.
It's that like every now and again when you guys go somewhere and it has to be that when you call me when you get to the place.
Okay.
And then I'm like, when that shit for me is
chill?
a very
You chill hard?
It's the most chill. Because one time I messed up one time. One time I started my chill shit.
And we showed back
You
up.
show right, and the girls came up into the bathroom and they were like, just like, what the hell? This is a
like
chill
partying,
shit.
like
Yeah, I can't get this back. I can't recoup this chill. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. Even if you guys all left right then and I still had 10 more minutes of shit,
Yeah.
it's like the vibe is wrong now. It's like I would have to like get off the toilet, recalibrate, eat, go through 45 minutes of digestion. I would need a whole new shit
Yeah.
to be able to get chill shit out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is wild. The first time, I wonder, there must have been generations of black men who had no idea what jerking off was.
You think so? Amidst all that, you think that they didn't find jerking off?
I mean, where do you jerk off?
I don't know. They were having sex, like,
That's
we've seen
different.
the movies. You just
It's
kind of.
different. It's different. It's like that. Maybe you're right.
I mean, everybody's asleep. You do it kind of quietly.
I will say this: that the first time having sex, or first time jerking off, as a free man, must have been so.
Just walking around the woods, like, yeah.
It's like because that whole entire time you're jerking off as a slave, like you can't, like when you come, you can't like put your head back. It's like a lot of chin to the chest, like just like neurotically looking around, like making sure. Man, that's another thing, man. Too, it's like I just imagine like slave dicks being gigantic, just like because it's just like the neuroses of like having your people around you, your other like slave men. I don't even know what they called each other.
Yeah.
They weren't homies yet. They weren't free. There was
No.
So just having other people, you don't want to have other people around you see you. I mean, I would imagine there's some kind of weird culture.
Yeah.
Like people don't exist in environments without forming a culture.
Yeah.
So there had to be something around that. And then there's like the neuroses of like, your master coming in and like seeing
that
your giant dong
well.
again.
Yeah.
It's like, I told you to have that thing away when I came in here. There was like a no dicks out policy.
Yeah.
For sure.
Put your dominant dick back in your pants. I don't like the way it makes me feel.
You're like, you better have a mask on your dick every time I come in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely the mask policy was probably strictly enforced.
Yeah.
Like no exposed slave dong
No.
at all.
No.
Like that, I mean, the punishment was probably severe.
Yeah.
It was like probably weird too.
Yeah.
It was like before we do what we're gonna do to you, let me see you touch it. Let me see you wave it around a little. Or you end up, but they do it like in the guise of somebody that's angry. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you want to walk around having a big dick? Well, let me see you wave it side to side then, huh?
Let me see you fold it up and make a little balloon animal
fold it,
thing.
fold it hard, fold it 11 times.
I'm trying to think what ladies of the house,
Wait,
like the house servant ladies.
Do you recognize the significance though of folding something 11 times?
That's a lot of folding.
You can't fold anything more than 11. Like
Okay.
that's the most you can fold. I think it's 11, or it was like one of those things you can't fold a piece of paper more.
Yeah.
Can't fold a black dick more than 11 times.
Do it.
How many times you can fold this black dick? Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know what happened. I mean, I guess they just pretty much appropriated, like Aunt Jemima.
Yeah, you just continued raising kids.
Yeah, just like just kept raping them.
Yeah,
just like yeah. It is a weird thing to think about. It's also kind of interesting, just to bring that up with all these taking black faces off of products. It's like, what's happening here?
Yeah, it's almost, I don't know, this is a stretch, but like the Aunt Jemima is like, we were saying raising kids and stuff, and like I know people talk about like a black woman when she calls you like honey child or like some nice name. It like everybody loves it. It's like beautiful, and it's almost like I don't know. It's like it's almost trying to take that away, like that, like you can't have a reaction to a black person, like because any reaction you have is only because of your white privilege, you know? And it's like, okay, well, like, how are we supposed to interact with each other now?
Yeah, and that was also a way that black culture was kind of like snuck into white zeitgeist, right?
Yeah.
Because, and that's the thing, right? Like, white people can't cook.
Yeah.
So they do a lot of instant meals.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben's rice was instant rice.
Yeah.
Right? And like I was saying the other day, it was like, I for sure believe that sometime there was some guy saying, I don't want them dating my daughters, but they sure can make some rice.
Yeah.
Oh, they can make some rice. I want them in my house.
Yeah.
I want them in my house. But boy, they can flip a pancake, boy.
Yeah. I mean, like, food is like something that brings cultures together, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, you start taking that away from, like, I don't know, a lot of this stuff is not bringing people together. It's we're losing some of that.
Food from another culture is the first thing that makes you realize they're not so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, this Korean barbecue sauce is kind of the shit.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, bring them in. Yeah, it is. It is weird.
That's the first thing you've seen everybody be like, eat at black restaurants. That's what you can do, white people. You can eat at black restaurants.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we can do that.
Yeah. It's like, fuck yeah, we're doing that.
Yeah.
It's like, yes. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like white people are just sitting on the perimeter of black culture.
Yeah.
Just waiting for the green light.
Yeah.
To just like run it and just start loot. It's like a whole, like, not looting. I don't want to.
Yeah. Great choice of word there.
But it is. It's like, it's not going to be, I mean, they're going to have to pay for it, right? It's like, that's. Cause that's
like with money or like with their souls or like
with some sort of privilege. It's like use your privilege to pay for it. But no, it's there will be a trade-off. Like that's what will make it sharing, right?
Yeah.
Because traditionally it had been looting, right? But now it'll be something we share. It's like, yeah, come on in, come do your thing.
Yeah.
Come do your thing, and it's like, yeah, it's just funny to me. It's just like just convert, like white people just converge, like just grab up stuff for like kente cloth, blackface. It's just like just grabbing stuff, like running out with like kente cloth, the chicken in there, like just holding shit. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny to me.
We want to be part of this.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about it.
Yeah,
I think that's why there's such an effort to be like, no. It's like, you want it so badly.
Yeah.
Nobody that wants things that badly get those things
no.
from people. It's just like, oh yeah? Oh yeah, you want it? You want to be one of us? Or like, you want our approval? You want our approval? You want us to think you're good people?
We do.
Yeah, just dangling that, man. It's, yeah. I was, this is like a little bit of a hard change of subjects, but I was on the Church of Sacred Dogology today, and I think I fully flushed out my theory on the Tower of Babel.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, I'm not trying to jump into some ancient advanced civilization shit. This would be blindsiding.
Yeah.
Like, like even look at the conversation. But you're like, can we go back to something that could possibly get me canceled, please?
Can we talk about fried chicken, Sidney, please?
yeah. Let's get back on that thin ice, if you don't mind. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Please. So here, I think you're gonna like it. I think you're gonna like it.
Okay.
So, they the Tower of Babel.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a tower.
Okay.
Right?
No tower.
It was a rocket ship that they were trying to get to God.
Okay.
Right. But the story. I mean, that's just like, in actuality. If we like, the metaphor of it being a tower works just fine, because the story says that people came together, and like the consequences that they were pushed apart, and then they were all given different languages.
Yeah.
I don't think they were given different languages. What I think happened is like their written languages were destroyed, and maybe the smartest people kind of got culled out of society, and then the idiots, they separated all the idiots, and like they didn't have written language. They didn't
like you destroy written language by just killing the intellectuals.
Yeah, well, and just like, and also destroying all their shit.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it's again.
Burn the library.
Let me just get to the thing before we get into all that.
Okay.
Because I'm like,
I'll hold my questions.
Yeah. That was my fault. I approached it wrong.
Okay.
In that moment. So, basically, the premise, I think, what is kind of cool about it is that these people all were coming together, and how it relates to now, right?
Okay.
These people believed that if they brought everybody together as one, then the combination of them all coming together will be God.
Okay.
That's it. It's just like...
And you think that relates to right now?
I think it does, because what we're trying to do, we're trying to bring people together in a way where everybody comes together to be able to be like, and we smite you, and we smite you, and we smite you. It's like Zeus thunderbolts from...
That's God.
Yeah, from on top of a George Washington statue. Just... but it's like we're trying to... Not we. I mean, I don't know if I'm necessarily included in this current movement, right?
Yeah.
But I'll say we, because, I mean, I want to be with the people with the thunderbolts at the end of the day. But, yeah, it's like, coming together, and the combination of all of these progressive, liberal-minded people will be able to wield the power of God. And I think that's what the Tower of Babel is a story for. It's not necessarily don't come together, but it's don't come together for the purposes of wielding immense power. And I think that's the lesson to be learned.
Look at you, sitting over there all wise.
That was sick, right?
It is sick. It is sick. I don't know. It's been I've realized I've been complaining a lot about everything, like with whatever's, all the stuff that's going on in society. And I don't like how it's been making me feel. Yeah. Like, I don't like the vibe that it's been creating in me. But it's like, I'm also like, I don't know. It's like what you're saying. It's like, I'm looking at these people, and like, everybody's like meaning well, right? Like, there's like, I don't know if they're meaning well. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
you don't want to become like them, right? You don't want to start assigning negative motivations to their actions. Yeah. Because then you become like the person that looks at a picture of something and goes, "That's racist." Yeah. You don't want to become that. Yeah. Which is another thing I've been thinking really hard on. Like when you were saying how Hitler was saying that he loves having a totalitarian regime. Yeah. Because in order to defeat a totalitarian regime, you have to become a totalitarian regime. That's deep. The more you think about it. Dude, I've been thinking about that since you told me that. I can't stop thinking about it. Yeah. I can't. Dude, it's like Hitler is like the fucking pyramids.
Do tell?
Dude, it's like the most important thing about the existence of both Hitler and the pyramids is the information that you can apply from them. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. It's not about like their place in time at all. Yeah. It's about the monumental information. Like, I mean, we still like just that alone, like that information alone, knowing that Hitler reveled in the fact that as a totalitarian regime, like all these good people would have to become that. And so I thought about that some more, like how deep that goes, right? Because you have Nazis doing your bidding,
Yeah.
right? But they're doing bad things.
Yeah.
But they're doing it for the will of this man,
Yeah.
right? They're not necessarily bad people. Hitler knows that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in order to stop the terror that they're doing, you have to eradicate all the Nazis.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of blood on your hand.
It's a lot.
You know
of
what I
blood on
mean?
your
That's
hand.
like,
yeah. You got to validate that somehow in your, like, we're the good people. We're here to save people. We're gonna murder them all.
Yeah. Well, not all of them. Some of them are good at science. We'll keep those.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. You want to know something else crazy that so I was learning about World War II, and it was talking about, the Japanese, and like, they got that reputation of, just being like kamikaze and like being so intense and doing horrible things. Like they shoot nuns, they shoot all the nurses on the battlefield. Like wherever they go, they just kind of.
The Japanese were shooting nuns?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did they think they were ninjas?
No.
But they dressed like open-faced ninjas. Are you sure?
I don't know.
They probably
Sydney.
thought they were American ninjas.
Maybe.
They didn't know that American ninjas, they just assumed like, oh, they're probably, because they're so brash, they're like, yeehaw! Like, of course, an American ninja would have an open face.
Of course, yeah.
I don't want to put that on them for shooting nuns.
Okay.
The Japanese are very honorable. Very honorable.
So like they had this reputation, and they're talking about like as an American soldier or as an Australian soldier or whoever, like fighting these people, and like, but like they found records of them and what would happen, or I don't know, frame this however you want, but what would happen is sometimes when they got prisoners, they usually didn't take prisoners. Like they had millions of Chinese prisoners of war, and then there weren't prisoners in camp, like I don't know. They would.
Well, I just need to address this joke in me because I won't be able to not.
Yeah.
Like, did the Chinese just kind of like slink into their society? And everybody was like, "Are you? I don't want to." All right, but I'm gonna keep my eye on you. Or the Japanese are terrible. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It could go both ways, right? Because the history books will tell you one way, but again, I think they thought they were ninjas.
You really are framing this in another way.
And I really think the Chinese just got away from them. Maybe just
So some of the leaders, the Japanese leaders, when they would get like two prisoners, they would make the soldiers order them to, cut off hands or like cut their scalps, like torture these men. Yeah. And they're like, now you must fight to the death, because if you get captured, they're going to do that to you. So that's how they incited them to feel like, like they have to kamikaze. They have to go all the way to the death.
That's Comanche style.
Yeah.
That is the Comanche. That is the way of the Plains Indian.
Oh, yeah?
That was the plight of what it was to be a Plains Indian.
Because they knew what they did to the prisoners, and it was like, they're going to do it back to you.
You kept no prisoners.
Yeah, yeah.
You fucking mutilated everything.
Yeah.
Whatever you did, no matter what, you put something up someone's butt.
Did they?
Always.
Really?
Like, if they were going to burn them, like, they always mutilate. They would mutilate the fuck out of people. Oh. Because of what the enemy would do to their people. So you had to be like, you're not going to treat our prisoners more harsh than we're going to treat your prisoners.
Right.
Like, you guys are going to have the more disgraceful afterlife, not us.
Yeah.
Not us. You guys are going to get to, the big buffalo in the sky, and he's going to be like, what is that up your butt?
I don't mind this.
No. Forget about it. It's like still smoldering.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, don't worry about that. That's nothing. It's like they pull each tooth out individually, take the tongues out of people, and like move their like chin and like head, like dude, they would do ridiculous, just like got him.
Yeah,
because they didn't have selfies, they didn't have pictures,
obviously.
So they had to do something that would definitely stay in your memory forever. It's like you're not gonna need a picture. Just watch this. Watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that controlling of other human beings, it's crazy. Like that.
Yeah.
It's like prisoner's dilemma, right? Like
It is. I mean, it works.
Yeah.
It works. That works because it's like, it's terrifying.
And like at this point in life, I feel like we, like I keep having this thought and I haven't spoken it out loud. So here we go. But like we think we're so civilized right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe we're not all that civilized. Like I think we need to back off of this because I don't think, I know everything we're doing is for this like this common good of like, we should live in a society where people shouldn't have to face struggle. They shouldn't have to face microaggressions. Like, really? Are we sure? Are we sure we're that civilized? Because I don't know if that's true.
Are we sure that is even what civilized would result in?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Like, is that something on the path to being extremely civilized in the first place?
And is the goal to be that? Is that like a better culture?
That's what I was trying to say in a more fancy way, but no big deal. But that's so. It's also like not just like is that the goal? Is that the goal for being like that uber civilized? But I forget what I was gonna say. But yeah, because people, I don't know, people are just crazy right now.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I wanted to say. It's like we're so technologically advanced.
Yeah.
That we have tricked ourselves into believing that we are somehow higher creatures than we actually are.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still these animals that have these like fundamental animal instincts and reactions and reflexes that, maybe we need to work with that stuff.
Yeah.
Like there seems to be
like we all want to dominate each other.
Yeah.
And we're not getting away from that, even though we're trying to say that we are.
Well, no one can, right?
Yeah.
Because as soon as you are able to kind of quell out the dominance from a culture, they get attacked by China. You know what I mean? Or Russia. Or whatever.
Somebody else that doesn't think that dominance is a bad word.
Yeah. Yeah. But because it's been such a black week.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of like last year around this time.
Around your birthday, around Father's Day, Juneteenth.
Yeah, last year was Black Panther.
Yeah.
Black Panther. I mean, not for nothing, but Juneteenth was around then too.
It was.
We just weren't hitting it like that.
It could have been then.
Yeah, but Juneteenth just wasn't as lit as it is now.
Yeah.
To you, it was to me.
To you, yeah. You were celebrating at home. I
secretly celebrated it. It was just like
you just didn't let us in on it.
No, that's how we did it.
Or did you tell my kids? You just didn't tell me.
Well, I told my kids.
Oh. Fair enough.
Yeah, I told them. I didn't tell your half.
They were still with me, like, let's go on an adventure, kids.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, man. It was it's the only secret they've ever kept. But I've been getting in touch with my African roots.
Have you? Are you allowed to? You're allowed to put on kente cloth and kneel?
That's not how I get in touch with roots. That's not roots to me. Like that's superficial stuff.
Okay.
Like that's not roots to me.
Okay.
Like to me, roots are like history and culture. So getting in touch with and also mythology. That's super important to me. Like understanding a culture's mythology.
Sure.
Is how you become, I don't know, more. You just get to be. So much of mythology is spoken in metaphor, written in metaphor, that you really get to understand how people value life, and living, when you understand their mythology, right. So I've been getting into some African mythology, and I've also been reading a book about the Zulus, which, man, if they were a little more of an ancient warrior tribe, I would be like, I think I'm a Zulu.
But they're not ancient enough?
They didn't really last long enough in their height of being warriors.
Yeah.
For them to have like a legacy to be able to put generations of these warriors out enough for like my light skinned ass could possibly be one.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they were. It's like, I'm like, I have more chance of having Mongol, like, like, than or open faced ninja.
Yeah.
So they were. I mean, they only lasted a short time.
And they were pretty recent, right? You said 1800s?
It was like 1876 or 79 is when they, got thwarted.
That's when they got thwarted. So they were still before guns.
I don't know
guns are
when.
like 20s and 30s. I thought that's when people went to China and fucked them up with guns, or China went places and fucked people up with gun
I felt like
power.
the rifle existed for a while. I mean, I don't. I mean, we could probably look it up.
Probably, we do have a thing called
just like
the internet.
Yeah. When were guns invented?
According to Wikipedia.org, the first device identified as a gun, a bamboo tube that used gunpowder to fire a spear, appeared in China around 81,000.
81,000?
AD 1000.
Oh,
It's like
what is an 81,000?
I want to be like, that's not what the fuck I meant.
It was like so promising. I was like, holy shit, this is going to say exactly what.
No, it was.
To fire a spear.
It was because they had. I remember they came up with the guns in the 1800s because they used them against the Comanches and stuff.
Oh yeah.
They started using them against the Plains Indians.
Okay.
So it was man, look at that information.
Connected
all
dots.
over the world, just connecting all over the world, and they used like the gunpowder and stuff from that side from like China, and it was like, it was like they had guns. They had guns.
Because
that's how, that's basically how the Europeans dominated the world. Is they got guns first.
Yeah.
So I don't think there is not an example of Europeans going somewhere and taking over an indigenous tribe without guns.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Yeah, it seems right.
Yeah.
Like, how else will you do it?
Did Columbus have guns? I think they did.
I'm feeling like they did at this point because, bombs bursting in air. Like, there was a lot.
There were bombs bursting in air.
Right.
There were definitely bombs bursting in air.
So
they had guns when they butt fucked the Zulus. They had guns, right? But the Zulu culture is really interesting.
Yeah, 1920s is really late. Like, the Civil War, they had guns. That was like 1850. Like,
they had gangsters back then.
Yeah. Everybody had a gun then. But
the Zulu warrior culture is really interesting. There are some things that are happening where it's like, wait a second, conventional speakers or different black academics would have me believe this type of stuff didn't happen in Africa.
What do you mean?
So Shaka, the most famous of the Zulus, Shaka Zulu, he was the leader of the Zulus.
Yeah.
At their height, and then
which was when? Like,
so like before 1876.
Okay.
But it was I don't know how, because when they got fucked up, he wasn't the leader of them anymore.
Okay.
But there was a time when he was like forming when the Zulus were forming, because there were these original Bantu tribes that means people, split up around. They were just nomadic people.
Okay.
And they all split up and started going different directions.
Yeah.
It was like, fuck y'all. I'm going this way.
It was just like one brother took everybody, took groups and left.
Yeah, basically. I mean, when you said brother, I thought you just meant a black guy at first. It's like, so one brother just grabbed a bunch of motherfuckers and just bounced, and then another brother did the same shit, and then another brother.
And you're like, yeah, basically.
Yeah, of course. I just said that. You're just saying it a different way.
just more black than you. That's all.
Yeah. So the Zulus were a tribe that formed. Basically, there was like a dominance vacuum.
Yeah.
And the Zulus were like, we'll fuck people up.
Yeah.
And they dedicated their life to training more so than the other tribes around.
The other people were just farming and living.
Basically, cultivating. They were cattle herders.
Yeah.
So like having, walking around, that's why they were nomadic, because they would have to find these different grazing grounds for their cattle.
Yeah. And
the Zulus went into like a valley, but it was like a good water source and it was plush. Yeah. And like they found it and they were like, we're going to have to fuck people up.
So they didn't have to worry about they like some of their troubles got taken care of, and they're like, what should we do with these idle hands? Like,
or it was like, dude, we can't let anybody find out about this.
Okay, yeah.
It was like, we gotta have this for ourselves.
Yeah.
And or because it kind of reminds me of we were talking about, on the Church of Sacred Dogology, we were talking about evolution and how resource dominance is what Tim Butterly was using, was the first reason for evolution, like to be able to be more dominant in attaining resources.
Yeah.
And this, like, the idea just kept cracking me up of like a single-celled amoeba organism, just like going somewhere and just starts munching. And then another single-celled amoeba comes into its view and starts munching. And he looks up and he's like, what the fuck is he doing? Fuck that guy. I was going to munch that after I munched this.
Yeah.
And then he like thinks about fucking him up so much and so badly that when he splits and reproduces, like the next thing will have like a punching fist.
Yeah. Like, that's exactly what it is in my mind. Little punching arms.
It's just like, it's just thinking so hard.
I need something to get him.
Yeah, like my next generation's going to fuck you up, dude. So they started fucking everybody up, and they basically developed like a very intense warrior culture.
Yeah.
Where they were like advancing. They were advancing in warrior technology, where they changed the way shields were made.
Oh man, shields used to make the world of a difference.
Yeah, they made their shields heavy on the bottom.
Oh.
So what they would do is they would use their shield to like hit the other person's shield. It would turn their shield upside down or like, sideways, and it just stab them. So that's just one of the ways that they were able, and they wouldn't use these long spears because they would the spears that were used for throwing mostly.
Yeah.
And they weren't necessarily great for close contact fighting.
Yeah.
So they shortened their spears and made them more deadly.
I love how in history, like, you get those periods where people were just fighting a certain way, and somebody was like, why the fuck do we have to fight that way? Or why the fuck do we, like, let's, you know how it's really cumbersome when you have to do this and they just change it and they just, like, destroy everybody? Like, I just really enjoy those moments.
Or just, like, like you would get in a fight and be like, all right, you throw your spears, and then now you don't have spears.
Yeah.
And then you got to sit and wait for them to throw spears back at you.
And somebody finally comes along and is like, guys, you know how when you throw your spear, you don't have one?
Yeah, he was like, dude, they were like behind their shield, like, yo, we should stop throwing these.
Yeah. Like, or we should carry two.
Yeah. It was like, when we're carrying a shield. You can't carry two. Like, come on.
A belt?
Don't be crazy.
I'm going to invent a belt.
That was hundreds of years. Hundreds of years down the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is wild. That is wild. And they did that. They advanced. But they also advanced on warrior culture. Yeah. Which was super important. So they
like value dying in battle type of, is that what you mean, warrior culture?
So like, before Shaka took over, there was something in the Bantu culture that kind of came from before the split, that when people would have issues with each other is they would just talk shit. They would just like line up across from each other and just talk shit. Like just like talk shit, and they like would walk away when they felt like, yeah, I got him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all
and
it
it
was.
Couldn't go to like violence. It just like because that's what they did.
And you would throw stuff but not at the person. You would hurl stuff towards them, but as a sign of like, fuck you, dude.
See, this is so what we're missing in culture right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, if we could do this, I think we could all get along. Like, at least black and white people could get along a little bit better.
This is what we're doing. I think standing on opposite sides, talking shit and hurling shit towards each other.
Maybe you're
I think that's exactly what we're doing.
You're right.
And then Shaka, when he was starting to form the warrior culture, he was like, nah, man, I feel like this right here, this shit talking and not doing anything about it, it's exactly why everybody's a pussy.
Oh.
Just fight.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll know.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like one of the first things he implemented. Let's just fuck each other up.
Yeah.
Get them.
Yeah.
So, and then it was like, I mean, basically, it was like a Sparta of sorts, where everybody was a soldier.
Did women get involved in
To an extent.
like, you
They
need a strong
didn't
woman?
fight on the battlefield, but they were hardened.
Yeah.
They were like within the Zulu culture. Like they weren't soft like these other Bantu women. You
Yeah.
know, they'd fuck you up good.
Yeah.
Right. And then so one of the things that really stuck out to me was that if after a skirmish, if you are found to have scars on your back, you're put to death.
Ooh.
Because that means you were running.
Coward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's no room for cowardly
Yeah.
behavior.
Like how I've been watching the Viking shows.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know. I assume like a lot of it is based off of true culture, you know. But like they had like a battle scene where people were going and they had to like climb up the thing to try to get over the walls of the city they were attacking, and a guy was like afraid to climb the wall and he like let somebody else go, and so like one of the leader guys just slit his throat. You coward, you're dead. We don't need you.
Yeah, because he's going to get people killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit is crazy to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm like when I'm reading these like this stuff and learning this information about warrior cultures, even watching like these Viking shows, like half the time I'm like, this sounds like the best time period to ever exist in. And the other half, I'm like, I would never want to live like this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, goodness gracious. It's like, what if somebody got behind you, turned around and just got you?
Yeah.
You know, while you were still fighting the enemy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, that's not what happened. No. I know it looks bad, but it's like.
Yeah. I know. That would suck to have to defend it.
Yeah, it's like, can somebody vouch for me, please?
I was fighting here, and he was there.
It's like, yo, you were next to me. It's like, nah, I don't want to be in there. I'm not a part of it. I'm not a part of this. Yeah. Now let me see. I had some stuff I wanted to. So they didn't like. So this is like that was in battle. Like if you were cowardly in battle, you were killed.
Yeah.
If you developed a reputation as a coward, like not in battle, you would have a. If the battle came up, you had your chance to prove you weren't a coward.
Yeah.
But until then, you got fucked with. And one of the things that they would do to fuck with people that were rumored to be a coward is that they would, like after they would cook and divvy up the food, and they would take their meat that just got cooked.
I feel like it's going to be the equivalent of like knocking somebody's soda out of their hand.
Yes and no, right? Because it's like, it's no. But yes, but no at the same time. So what they would do is like they would cook all the food and everybody starts eating their food. But then like the coward, they would take their warm meat and dip it in cold water and give it back to them. It's just like, coward, you don't get hot meat, coward.
Yeah.
Get your cold ass meat, pussy. Yeah. Hot meat is for killers.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's just a funny thing. It's just like every time you get your meat, you're like, oh fuck, who's gonna dip my meat? Who's gonna get my meat? Damn it.
Yeah.
And then somebody grabs your meat and you're just like, fuck. Because you can't do anything about it because you're a coward.
Yeah.
You gotta let your meat get dipped by this person with his dirty ass meat dipping hands.
I know. That's like the worst part. Like, stop touching my meat.
Yeah, there's no way it was done respectfully.
No.
You know?
Put it back all sloppy, like water getting on everything
Drop it
else
on the ground
your
first.
Yeah,
Oops,
your whole
oops.
plate, like your bread or whatever
Sorry,
else.
I dropped your cold meat.
Put it in some more water. It's already cold.
Yeah. By the way, when they would talk shit at each other, it was called Gia.
Yeah.
And it was so they would like, you know, yell, it would talk shit, like yell out ridiculous threats and do high kicks at each other from a distance.
You know, like a lot of threats were like your mama jokes.
Yeah. Like you get a good one and you do a high kick.
Yeah.
Yeah, your mama.
That must have been such a good time for like everybody else though.
I bet it was.
Right?
I bet it was. It was just like, cause you're just on the side, just like
ah!
yeah. Cause that's it. You either that's the Zulus. They invented the
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Got him!
They for sure invented that. So yeah, it was and they always did it when they would dip their meat in cold water. They always did it in front of everybody.
Yeah, they like drew all the attention.
Yeah, it's like, hey, it's meat dipping time. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. Yeah, man. There's like, I mean, I think this is a good place to stop. But I'm not gonna be done talking about Zulus,
Okay.
man, because there's some stuff. There's some stuff, man. They're wild. They're wild boys.
Yeah.
Wild boys. It's like, you know, part of me is like really saddened by the fact that they kind of were eradicated, but another part of me is like, it probably was best.
Yeah.
It probably was best.
Yeah.
There's some scary sounding
There's
warriors,
cultures,
man.
yeah.
And they were close to modern times. Like if they got guns,
Yeah.
woo,
We would all be Zulus right now.
we would all be Zulu. And there's still Zulu, like people who are Zulu blood, like towns of people who are like mostly Zulus, and 7 out of 9 deaths in that culture are what like honorable like fight murders.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because that's their culture, and they're just
Yeah.
like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
They're not even like, we gotta stop the Zulu on Zulu violence. They're
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
It's like this is how we do it.
Yeah.
So, I think we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. Some shout outs. This was fun. I think we hit like a little evolution in podcasting here. Still, I keep forgetting to say like go to the Patreon, subscribe, and all that other stuff.
Yeah. Do that stuff.
Yeah, we'll do that. We gotta get that. We gotta get that.
What are we supposed to say it up front?
Like throughout,
Throughout?
you know, like here and there.
Nobody likes advertising throughout.
No, but it's like it's not advertising.
It's just
Nikes,
support us.
You know, it's like, hey, you like what we're doing? There's more
Yeah.
of it that you
Yeah.
can get where we feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, we can get a little looser.
Yeah.
You know, there's no cancel phobia on the Patreon.
Yeah.
Where so yeah, we gotta,
Okay.
get a good big laugh, a good hearty.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, this is a good play. Yeah, you like this? You like
Yeah.
what you're just laughing at right now? But yeah, shout outs to all of the folks out there. By the way, Zulu witch doctors are terrifying.
What would they do? Put
Like-
curses on people?
Well, no, they would smell out cowards or smell out
Oh.
dissenters. And then it was like,
That's a lot of power.
and if you got smelled out by a witch doctor, you were put to death. You were slowly impaled to death. Like, yeah,
Ugh.
through the butt.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Everything you research is through the butt, man. You
That's-
love the through the butt cultures.
Yeah,
That's your cultures. Those are your people.
The first thing I type in Google is anal.
Yeah. Stop
Anal
studying those cultures.
African warriors.
Man,
So-
that is like what's part of what's so scary about those cultures, though, right? Because some people have a lot of power in them. Like,
Yeah.
like you could get a corrupt witch doctor, or just like a witch
They,
doctor you
and
don't
they
get
were
along
corrupt.
with.
You would have to like gain favor with them. If you were rich, you would have to like butter them up and like keep them
Ugh,
happy and
I don't
stuff.
like that.
Yeah, and it was like there was no real respect for old people either. But the witch doctor was traditionally old.
Yeah.
Like the way they were trying to make a strong warrior culture, so there was no place for weakness. So old
Right.
people were just like they would like if a person was getting old, like
You
looking
fall
like they were
down.
up there, you better not fall down, not in front of Shaka.
Yeah.
You better not fall down in front of somebody and let they get back to Shaka.
Yeah.
He get you. You're dead.
Yeah.
You're old and you sneeze.
Yeah.
Shit is over.
Yeah.
Like dead serious. Sneezing. If
Really?
you sneeze as an old person, Shaka get you.
Ooh.
Yeah, but they were fucking everybody up as a cult. They were
Fair
getting,
enough.
you know, it was like, so, but yeah. Let me get these shout outs real quick. Kevin McGran and Chris Bruno right off the bat, shout them out. Don't want to forget about them. I'm not gonna forget about Andrew Pace. What up? Shout out Andrew Pace. I'm still getting these up. Trying to remember some of this stuff. All right, here we go. And then Mike Butler, Mike Levy, Liz Bott, what up? Doc, Phil Clark, Kevin Stevens, Julian from Canada, and Meg. In her Meg that says. I was like, that was in the middle of a burp.
Yeah.
It was like I was imploding with burp just now.
Thanks for sharing.
Kevin Lau, Mary Jo, Nicole, Raj, Janelle, Courtney, Rick, Andrew Pace again, Keith Butts, Kyle Hancock, Erica Daniels, Levi Mercer, Justin Masabi, Ezekiel Ellis, Logan Ryan, Roger Down, Joe Robb, Joe Neal, man, Joe Francis and his girlfriend's company, Saved by the Wreath, TJ James, our man down under. I wonder if he knows about the Zulus. Australia, I always feel like, they're I mean, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Aborigines, you know.
Yeah,
I wonder how
yeah.
much. I wonder what he knows about Aborigines.
Yeah.
You fuck with warrior cultures. Nick Cupsey in his 2 books, of course, Lost in the Mail. He, very funny mail carrier. And the 5 people you meet in Wawa. This old guy, still don't know who this old guy is. He'll come back. He'll come to me. He'll come to me in a dream. He'll come to me in a dream. Thank you so much for listening. We have a lot of fun doing this. Check out our Patreon, of course. You're listening to Circadian Clock right now. Shout out to Melissa and those talented musicians who do this. All right, we good.
Yeah.
She got you.